Introducing Jason McCurry, a community leader strengthening disability voice.
Hi there, my name is Jason McCurry. I'm a young person with disability. I live with Tourette syndrome, anxiety, and OCD. And I use he, him pronouns. I'm based in Naarm in Melbourne. I grew up in a small country town, about 3 hours outside of Melbourne, in a town full of about 3,000 people. Where I lived, there wasn't a lot of diversity or difference, and that was tricky growing up, and probably led to me not really owning my disability or my disability diagnosis from an identity perspective until I was older, in my 20s, when I'd moved to Melbourne. Accessible and inclusive communities is a very broad topic. It means to me being accepted for who I am, including what I can't control. So sometimes my tics, my outbursts, or my thoughts in all spaces in life and society, where I want to be and where I deserve to be. This includes school, university, sport, supermarkets, and public transport. In schooling, reflecting back there wasn't a lot of diversity at school or where I lived, and I think that lack of exposure, as I shared earlier, kind of really played an impact on me. I had overall quite a positive experience with inclusion in the community and school and with friends and family, but that lack of diversity really changed who I could be at that time, who I looked up to, and what I thought about disability and disability identity. I think that lack of exposure in schooling led to around that lack of training around differences on diversity and disability. I think some challenging things looking back was people talking behind my back about me or mimicking my tics, so getting picked on. That was quite hard. Other places in the community that are tricky to access, I think, supermarkets and public transport. I think from a sensory perspective, anyone that's neurodivergent would understand this. Lighting, incredibly bright, not neon lighting, but fluorescent lighting. Noise, a lot of background noise, a lot of radio ads, that kind of thing, a lot of beeping. It's a sensory nightmare, really. So I think looking at a universal access perspective, how do we reduce some of these sounds and lights? Are they favouring anyone? Or if we remove them for all the neurodivergent people, would that actually benefit a lot of other people, such as people who prefer it quieter, people who get stressed in those environments, the elderly, the list goes on. Other places in my life, I've always liked sport, participating in sport and watching sport, and I've always liked sport as a vehicle for change, what sport can do. So that's both participating in sport and giving someone that opportunity to play the sport they've always loved for the first time, no matter what their disability, but also using sport as a vehicle for change. So at the elite level, trying to change club members' viewpoints through the power of sport and bringing people together through the power of sport or the love of a club. Some recent wins here in sport are events like the Australian Open in Australia, are like local football games that pairing up with venues and offering sensory-friendly spaces. There's a lot more patron services around accessibility. We are seeing some improvements there, which is great, and I'd love to see that continue to improve even more, investment in that space even more, and for that to improve even on a quicker basis. Some other areas in my life where I think of accessible and inclusive communities is music and gigs. I love getting to pubs and festivals and gigs, and whether that's having a drink or a meal or seeing a live gig with friends with disability and without disability, like everyone else should be able to access. There's still a big gap there. There are some improvements being made, and some organisations leading the way around consultancy and different accessibility tools, different technology leading the way there. But so many venues, especially the older pubs and band rooms, are just not accessible for so many different disabilities. So overall, in summary, universal access should be the focus, should be the objective for anyone in their roles in policy and practice. It's just providing the basics so that everyone can be where they want to be and where they deserve to be. Thanks for listening, and I hope this is helpful for your discussion today.